Good evening, ladies. My name is Erin Radke, and I'm a fifth-year senior at the University of Iowa. 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to speak at this event, and it was truly a blessing for me. I was a senior on the volleyball team at Lincoln High School in Sioux Falls. My team had won state the year before, and we were going into another chance at state my senior year in 2011. Looking back 5 years ago, it's crazy to think that I've had an entire college career here at Iowa. I never thought that I would ever get not only the opportunity to speak to you girls, but also just to be able to finish my career. There were so many times where I faced adversities. There's times where God really challenged me through it. But I'm just glad to be able to say that I made it all 4 years of my career, and I'm now officially have-been athlete. So I'd like to give a shout out as well to my sister, Lexi Hare. She is a freshman on Lincoln High School's team. Congrats to you guys for making it to state, and congrats to all the teams that I'm addressing today. For me and my experience in high school volleyball, I was never any big deal by any means. When I started volleyball in 8th grade, and I was absolutely horrible. And going through high school volleyball, I remember thinking, how in the heck am I ever going to be able to compete with these girls? I think each year as time went on, our team made it to state my freshman through senior year, which was a huge blessing, but it was also a big learning experience for me. I never really had that volleyball mentality that I had wanted, but thankfully I had awesome coaches like Coach Erica Palladino Hazlett, who was the coach at the time for me. And I also had an awesome team and a really great FCA at my school. So Fellowship of Christian Athletes was a big outlet for me in high school, especially my junior and senior year. I committed to the University of Iowa going into my junior year. I knew that going to play college volleyball was going to be extremely difficult, but I also knew that it was a challenge that I was willing to take on and I was willing to persevere through. And it was also something I wanted to do for my mom. As some of you may know, when I was 10 years old, my mom had a major heart attack that left her permanently brain damaged for the rest of her life. And for me, going through that experience and watching my mom live years of her life in brain injury facilities and now in a nursing home, although it was really hard for me not to have her in my life during those years, it really made me just proud of the things I'd come through and I'd been through. And it made me really proud that I could make her proud. I remember that the year that I got to speak at this exact banquet 5 years ago, that following night we were playing O'Gorman in the first round of the state championship, and my mom was able to be there. And that is the one game of my career since that she's ever been able to be at. And to be able to say that she was able to be there and how much that meant to me, I couldn't even begin to tell you how big of a blessing that was. But I think once we won state that year, I just knew in my heart that I wanted to go on to college volleyball. I wanted to be as successful as I could, but I also wanted to play for something bigger than myself. So going into college volleyball, I think that I thought it was going to be maybe not a breeze, but it definitely wasn't going to be a huge challenge. And I was totally mistaken. My first semester here was really, really hard. I was on a team full of new people I'd never met in my life. I had arrived on campus 2 days before preseason started, which is not something typically that at a Division I level you would ever do. So I really right off the bat was just starting fresh. And I remember the first few weeks I had no idea what I was doing. I was a complete mess. I really thought that I knew how to play volleyball, but man, did they teach me all new criteria that I never even dreamt I could ever manage. But by about halfway through the season, I think my hardest moment was when I tore my ACL. Now, for any of you who have had injuries, you know how much that can just really place a burden on yourself as far as the role you play on the team, when you're going to recover, how long it's going to take. And for me, I think that I had already been struggling so much during that year, really trying to find my place at Iowa, being 6 hours away from home, not being able to visit my mom like I used to. And just all of those adversities just kind of came clashing together. And I remember that shortly after tearing my ACL and finding out that I wasn't going to be able to finish the season, I really kind of just took it to God, and I remember praying to myself, saying, you know, God, if this is how the rest of my career is going to go this year, at least for the rest of this season, then I'm going to give everything I have to you, and I'm going to just play the best I can when I'm finally recovered. I'm going to be loyal to you. I'm just going to try and be the most positive teammate I can be and the most supportive teammate. And I'm just going to make the best of the worst of situations. So that's kind of what I did, but it wasn't without a lot of help. So just like FCA, my school has Athletes in Action. So Athletes in Action is also a ministry for athletes in college. And so each week I would meet with different athletes who were my age, maybe even older, and we'd all just kind of talk about the different things we were going through. sometimes you can't help but think that when you look at athletes who are in college, that they're, kind of put on this pedestal that they've got everything going on and that life's all great. But, for me, it wasn't like that at all. It was definitely a lot of challenges, and I think it helped me finding other people who are going through the same things. So Athletes in Action was kind of my foot in the door with my faith in college. And, as I went on through into my sophomore year, I was healthy again. I was a starter again, which was a tremendous blessing in itself. But I also noticed that I started to find my identity in volleyball. I wasn't really thinking about the hard times and the times that I had just went through that past year. I wasn't thinking about, the adversities that I came through, but I was more selfish then. I think that I was riding this high of getting to be the go-to player on the team, and I think that it really came full circle for me when going into my junior year we had a new coach and I wasn't playing anymore. I wasn't the go-to. I wasn't the big starter like I had been my first 2 years, and so that was kind of a time where I had the experience of going to the Ultimate Training Camp. It's a camp in Minneapolis, Minnesota, but there's also other locations as well. And the Ultimate Training Camp is a camp where Christian athletes from all over the country can come together from any level, Division 1, 2, or 3. And at that camp, we kind of learned different principles and how to get through our careers in a way that's not just driven by our own wants and our own desires, but by what God wants from us too. And I think that one of the biggest things I took away from it was a focal point. Now, what I mean by a focal point is, for me, I always write on my hands. So every single game, every single day, actually, I would write a cross right on my thumb. And so for me, when I'd be playing volleyball, when I'd go to pass, when I'd go to set, when I'd go to serve or hit, I'd always see it right there. And I think that was kind of a way for me to hone in when things were going wrong or things were tough, that there's something bigger there, and that God's looking out for me, and that I was going to be okay. And another thing I learned from Ultimate Training Camp was the idea of AO1. So if you've never heard of AO1, it's called Audience of One. And it's that idea that at the end of the day, no matter how difficult a practice may be or how difficult of a situation you may be in, that it's what really matters is pleasing God and not pleasing the people around you. And so that for me was something that I've also taken away, and I think it's really become something that people that are close to me in athletics who are Christians as well, that we've all kind of embodied that idea that at the end of the day it's not about pleasing each other, but it's about pleasing God and just playing to the best that we can and hoping for the best outcome, but understanding that it's not always going to be perfect and it's not always going to work out. But I think the final challenge, but the biggest obstacle and biggest thing that I'm so proud of overcoming was my senior year. I had always known that I had something wrong with my heart. My mom, for her having the heart attack that she had, she went her whole life knowing that something wasn't right with her heart, but through going to different specialists and really just trying to figure it out on her own, they were never able to diagnose anything for her. And so when her heart attack happened, it was definitely a shock, but it was definitely something that kind of made my brother and I kind of worried that maybe this could be something that would affect us too. So my senior year, after years of doing tests all through middle school and high school, I was so thankful to come across a doctor here at the University of Iowa, Dr. Law, who found that I have a very rare condition called avjunctional tachycardia. It's where my heart rate goes to about 240 beats a minute, and it happens all the time. And the rarity of it is it's very, very, very difficult to cure and take care of, but it's also opened doors for me to at least try. So my senior season, halfway through my season, my career ended. And it ended by me having an ablation, which is a pretty simple procedure, but one that wasn't able to really fix what I had going on. And so I think that ending my career with a heart surgery, by all means, wasn't what I had planned in my mind. It wasn't what I expected for myself, and wasn't what I was hoping would be the way things would go. But man, was I grateful that I was at the place I was at and surrounded by the people I was surrounded by. And, for me and for all of you girls too, as you go through your careers, even whether you're a freshman or a senior on your high school team right now, you have to always remember how lucky you are to have the people that are supporting you. I mean, right now you're sitting next to your teammates, you're sitting next to your coaches, and for a lot of you, you're going to have parents and grandparents and siblings in the audience. And those relationships are the ones that are really going to matter most to you. And for me, they mattered most to me when I thought I was never going to be able to recover from a very difficult time in my life. And so following that heart procedure in October of 2015, which is my senior year, I was overwhelmed by the response I had gotten from my teammates when I came back to the gym that next week. Although I wasn't able to practice right away, and although I never really played a match again my senior year, I can't even tell you how blessed I felt that God wasn't only just looking out for me during that time, but that He had given me teammates who were understanding, caring, loyal, and just really had my best interest at heart. And I think that, when you think that you have it all figured out and you think life's going to go the way you want it to go, sometimes it's going to throw you curves. Sometimes you're going to have things that you never really were able to foresee. But for me, I'm grateful for what happened, because I not only now know what I have, this rare heart condition, but I know that I have teammates who really care and who really looked out for me. And to be able to say that my career at Iowa was a blessing is an understatement. Being here the last 4 years and being able to reflect on that and reflect on my high school experience and being able to speak to all of you girls, it's really nothing like it, and nothing that I ever could have imagined happening to me when I was a freshman in high school in 2008, which is crazy. But so I just want all of you girls to know that when you go through this state tournament, don't be thinking about pleasing everyone around you and trying to achieve things that are only what you maybe think you can obtain, but really just go for it. Just play your heart out. Play your heart out for God, for yourself, for everyone around you. Just really challenge yourself to be the best teammate you can be when there's times when you're maybe down a few points, or when you maybe didn't win that match to go into the next round and you're just not where you expected to be. Don't give up. Don't lose hope in those moments. And just remember that AO1, audience of one, God's with you. You're going to be okay. Everything's gonna work out. And just play the best of your ability and just have fun. Enjoy this. The state tournament is some of the best memories of my life, and I'm just so thankful that you girls get to experience it just like I did 5 years ago. So good luck to all of you as you go into your matches tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see who takes the crown for all the classes. So congrats to you girls. I hope all is well, and I can't wait to see you at state volleyball.